Boomhauer 69 here. I'm just doing a little walking on this nature trail here. In another walking talking video, I walked all the way there and was talking and stuff. But this trail I'm on is actually used to be railroad tracks back in the day, and I guess they call that creek back there. Crooked Creek. That's what they call it, because it's probably not. It's probably all crooked and stuff. And that's the one in the last video I did, walking talking video. That's the one where I was talking about questioning the water, water source in the event of emergency. You had to use that water to hydrate yourself. I talked about that in the last video, about how I didn't know if that water was safe to boil up and drink and stuff. But I've walked this numerous times. When I had my old tablet, I done a ton of videos about this nature trail and things, and I'll show you. This trail, nothing really has changed much. The only thing is the trees get bigger and older and more leaves, and the leaves change color around the fall time and stuff, Right now we're in the beginning of August, so pretty soon fall will be coming up, and that's the only thing that changes on this nature trail. Is just basically once in a while they'll throw some new pea stone gravel down and stuff, but nothing really major happens here where it would be worth, filming 9 million times, because after a while you're just filming the same old. But I did some in the past, a bunch of videos on my YouTube channel all about this nature trail. If you take this nature trail and you can walk it, I'm not gonna, because it's in the evening around 4, getting close to 5 o'clock, and not enough time in the day, or I'd be walking back in the dark, which would be dangerous. And the only light I got is what this tablet / camera has. So, and if you're wondering what cameras I use, I'm just using a newer Samsung tablet as a camera for filming and stuff. I don't have any fancy camera stuff. The only fancy cameras I have is the front and rear camera on this Samsung tablet and stuff. So that's what I use for filming and things. Because I noticed down through the years, a lot the tablets, smartphones, smart devices now, they all come with pretty decent, cameras where you don't, camera lenses and stuff where you don't need to have, to really go out and buy an actual digital camera. Because I remember when they first put cameras on phones and tablets and stuff, they wasn't really great, where if you wanted good quality cameras, you had to go out and buy like an actual digital camcorder or digital camera and stuff. So, and now since everybody uses a lot of times tablets and smartphones and stuff, they really put, good quality camera lenses and stuff on them. Oh, stupid bug, get away. Yeah, that's the only thing on this nature trail in the hot weather. When you're sweating, yeah, you're gonna get the bugs paying your visit. So, but yeah, that's all this is. It's just simply, back in the day, this used to be railroad tracks. Back in the 1800s and 1900s, and even in the 90s when I was a kid, this was an active railroad track. It wasn't until about maybe 2012 to 2013, or around or maybe I think it was even 2011, they decided to tear up the railroad tracks and let this organization that built this nature trail use it as nature trails and stuff, which I think is a great idea. There's, I say there's positives and negatives to having both, either a nature trail or a railway. It is kind of sad to kind of see sometimes, the rail system being taken up and stuff. But also, I think having this nature trail is also good because it gives people opportunities to, travel and stuff and be able to get some exercise and walk, ride a bike. And I think this is perfectly great for those that gotta use a bicycle and don't want to be riding on the main roads because, even though it is legal for pedestrians to walk down the main roads, I always call them the main roads and stuff that cars can drive on and things, that can be dangerous at times because people have forgotten down through the years that, hey, for pedestrians, bicyclists and stuff, you're supposed to share the road, but a lot of motor vehiclists forgot that, Apparently they didn't pay attention to that part in driver's education and stuff, so that's why I'm thankful that this is here, because it gives them an alternative, a safer way for people who need to travel on foot or on a bicycle, a more safer way to travel to towns and stuff, because the way things are going nowadays, the automobile is going back to the days of when only rich people can afford them, and so the working class people like me and probably you that are watching this, well, it's getting to the point where we are going to be seeking alternative methods to get to point A to point B, where we'll be carrying a backpack and walking a lot and stuff, because the auto industry, they don't wanna give the old working class, poor old country hillbillies a sporting chance, the poor folks, and that's why all these things are going crazy in the world right now and stuff, because I say all the time, Ford Motor Company has lost its ways, Henry Ford's idea was back in the 1900s, when automobiles were only a rich person thing. Henry Ford's idea with the Model T was to make a vehicle that the common man and woman could afford, and unfortunately, I say Ford Motor Company, they lost their ways years ago, When they started inventing cars with electric windows and automatic locks. Oh, it's cool. You can sit in the restaurant and from the table of your restaurant, start up your car and lock and unlock. Oh, that's great. That's nice. But they made all that features, and you know what they did? They just add that stuff just so they can upper the prices and stuff. They don't want to make an affordable basic car anymore, so that's why I'm glad that this nature trail is here, so that way people can, if they work in the next town over, Ionia, or if you head west that way, you run into Lowell, and then eventually you'll run into Grand Rapids and the big cities, and it makes a way for people to safely travel who can't afford automobiles and stuff, Because in my small town of Saranac, jobs are limited, so, because it's a small town, so you have to, in order to get a decent job, you sometimes got to do some traveling, and so it's good that this nature trail is here, so you can simply travel and stuff, and be able to safely get to point A to point B, because, nowadays the main roads over here, because over there is the main road. That's the road where everybody's zooming down 55 miles per hour and nobody pays attention no more. And if you're walking and riding a bicycle, well, it could be, David Highway. Yep. There's that road. There's times where it could be dangerous because it's so hilly, you're coming up a hill, going down a hill, and there's times where, riding a bicycle or walking can be quite dangerous because you can easily not be paying attention and stuff, When I was growing up as a child, I lived out in the country on a dirt road, and people would be treating the dirt road like it's a highway, doing practically 70 miles per hour, And when I would ride a bicycle as a kid, I'd see a car coming. I'd get off the side of the road, let them go on past, and then I'd hop on the bicycle and move. And sometimes in certain areas, that's not a viable option to do. And lucky for me, all those years of riding a bicycle up and down the dirt road, I had plenty of space to get, get over and stand and stuff. And the property that I usually would stand on, I knew the owners and knew the people, so, and they didn't care. It was a farmer's field, and I knew the farmer. So I remember he had these towards the road, he had a little about inches away, at about, I'd say maybe 5 or maybe about 5 to 6 feet or so, or maybe 10, I don't know. A little patch of grass, and then he had his field, and he used these walnut trees, kind of, I guess that's like a fence kind of thing. And I remember standing under the walnut trees and letting the cars pass, and depending on what time of season it was, I would pick up some walnuts and stuff, because my dad used to a little bit eat walnuts and things, break them open and eat the nut inside. But yeah, I'm glad this is here. But yeah, this nature trail, if you keep going this way east, it will take you into the next town over, Ionia, which will take you, if you keep walking, it will take you right into downtown Ionia. And then as you head back that way west, you'll run into the town I live in, Saranac. And then once you keep going west beyond Saranac, you'll enter in the next town called Lowell, 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 Michigan, where I actually work at a department store. Well, discount department store. A Walmart competitor, we'll call it. Because the store I work for is just like Walmart, but simply with a different name, and it's a Walmart competitor. Well, yeah, this little section will take you. And then if you keep going on this nature trail where I'm headed, keep going east, beyond Ionia, you'll eventually run into into the town of what they call Lyons Muir. So, because what they did was I don't know how much stretch of the old railroad tracks they took it up, but they took it up a lot, and they all connect to other nature trails. Because I think they call it the Fred Meyer Rail Trail or Rail Trail Organization. I know the Myers Company, which is a big company in Michigan, they donated a lot of money to this, to the I'm gonna call it the Rail Trail Organization. I forget the full name of it, but the Rail Trail Organization were the ones that set up this nature trail and stuff, and everything and stuff. Set up everything and made this what it is and stuff. And they bought up a bunch of them, and they're all connected and stuff. You can basically, if you are somebody that likes some hiking, and you like hiking hundreds and hundreds of miles, this nature trail I'm on, you can hike it for 100 miles. You can go to all the way up north and stuff, and all over the place. There's a lot of connected. In my mother's hometown of Vesterberg, the local railroad tracks up there, they took them out, and they could somehow connect to this nature trail, and they're all connected where if I wanted to, which I'm not going to, if I wanted to, I could hike this nature trail, and eventually, if I know which way to go and everything, I could eventually take it and end up in my mother's hometown of Vesterberg, which is in another county and stuff. So, if I wanted to and things, but yeah, here's some nice nature scenery. Looks like it's pretty open. If you Looks like a nice open field and stuff. And then there's a farmer's field. One thing I would do if you was truly 100% lost on this trail, which the way this is, if you got lost on this trail, you could easily walk that way and get into the town of Saranac and find your way back to wherever your destination is. Or if you keep going that way, you'd keep heading east, you'd run into the next town of Ionia, which and stuff and civilization. Coming up here pretty soon, heading east will be the state land, but worst case scenario, if you were lost and stuff or whatever, you could easily hop through these bushes, walk through there, and eventually hit the main road where the cars are and stuff, and be able to, if you needed help or whatever, you could easily get help if you didn't have any cell phone service or anything of that sort and stuff. You didn't have any of that. Any communication devices, you could easily, matter of fact, through the trees, if you look really close, you can see traffic over there on the main road. That's how far away this trail from actual main road activities, and there's all kinds of houses and stuff where if something was to happen, you say you didn't have any sort of communication device with you, like a cell phone or any connection cell tower, or something came up, you could easily, find help or get back to civilization if you was truly lost or something and didn't know where you was going. Now me, I just got this tablet on me, know nothing, because, well, I know where I'm going. I traveled this thousands of times, and a bunch of times before, and so if you look at my YouTube channel, you will see where I've done tons of videos about this nature trail and stuff, but, But yeah, there's really on this trail no way of getting lost and stuff. One thing since those videos I did in the past, I should mention, that did change on this nature trail is they just added more trash cans and little benches for people to sit down and enjoy. Usually what happens is they have these little benches and I showed them in the last video. They have some benches where people will pay to have their loved ones pay to have some wording put on it, like in loving memory of somebody. Usually people just kind of as of a past loved one that has passed on, they will have like in loving memory of so and so from family so and so and stuff. And so donations, they added more little benches and just kind of trash cans where people can sit and take a rest and stuff. And that's the only thing new they have done down through the years of the on this nature trail since I posted those videos and stuff. But at the end, nothing much have changed. Just like I said before, the trees, got older and stuff, and maybe a little more taller. Well, yeah, on this nature trail, this is what you're gonna see. The typical forest and the wildlife. Now, as far as bears or anything in this area, bears are not a problem. They're around, but I never had any encounters with a bear on this nature trail. If I did and I was getting attacked and had a bear try to attack me, well, then my tab was going to become a weapon, and I would queen the bear's clock by using my tablet as a bat and hitting him if I was ever under attack of a bear. That's why if you do ride this nature trail and you feel like it, bear spray is always a good thing to have on you. But around this part of Michigan where I'm at, you're not going to really have, as far as I know, any bear trouble whatsoever. But the only animal that you might have trouble with is Pepula Pew, a skunk, and he might spray you, because I've been on this nature trail numerous times where you could smell in the area a fresh skunk paying a visit and stuff. once you keep going this way, you eventually end up in state land. Often. And in the state land, they actually have have a little primitive like boat launch where you can launch your boats into the river and stuff, and kayaks and whatever they have. I call it a primitive boat launch where the ground is just level enough where you can load and unload your boat and stuff, and different things, and where they really don't have like a boat dock per se, but they made a little area where people can load and unload their kayaks easily into the river and stuff. If you keep going this way east, you eventually walk into the state land. But like I said in my previous video before about doing e-bike reviews, there's this nature trip would be definitely perfect for that. To go to the town of Ionia, you would have to travel 10 miles from Saranac to basically the downtown Ionia. It's going to be about 10 miles, or a little more to get there. And being that this is dirt, gravel, this would be perfect for testing out how well certain e-bikes and stuff could run and stuff. Matter of fact, there's one that I've actually been looking at. I think it's classified as an electric scooter. It doesn't have pedals on it, but it's a little electric motorbike. Called it's called like Kuroma, I think is how you pronounce the name. You can buy it on Amazon and directly from the manufacturer, but they make this e-bike that caught my eye that looks like a little electric mini bike. It looks like a mini bike. Basically, it looks like one of them old style mini bike frames like they used to have back in the day. I remember there was a company called Baja that used to make a little red and yellow mini bike, and then for a short while Coleman made a version of a mini bike that looked like the old vintage style, and this little electric, I always call it an electric bike, e-bike, or e-scooter, or e-scooter I should say, is it looks like the old style vintage gas powered mini bike frames. The frame looks like the old style gas powered mini bikes, and it's an electric one. And where normally you would have your motor inside the frame, they made it where you have a little basket and the battery, and then the motor is actually mounted on the wheel, the electric motor, and it looks like a little electric mini bike. And this company claims that their little mini bike can handle up to a 300-pound maximum load capacity, and they claim that the range capacity is 30 miles, and they claim the maximum speed is 20 miles, so it falls under the I think either class 2 or class 3 e-bikes. According to Michigan law, I think they would consider that a class 2 e-bike, but it's something that if I had that right now, I could test it out on this and put the range to the test. It claims a range of 30 miles, where what I would do is I would have it start in the Saranac. I would start from my house, drive it down here, and see if it would make it all the way into the town of Ionia and back. And that would be a total of roughly 20 miles, so therefore I would be able to test the range capability, see how much, how far you could actually go on the electric scooter before it conked out and the battery, died and everything shut off. Because it's one of those that doesn't have pedals on it to pedal it, but it has the foot pegs, and it's just basically an electric motorbike ride. And if I had that, I could definitely test it out here, which in the near future, when I have the extra pocket change, I do want to get it. currently right now I've been eyeballing it, seeing if they have it in stock, and they see if they have. And then when I know I have to check to make sure it's still in stock on Amazon, and then when I do have the money to do so, I am going to buy it and stuff. It's just saving up the money, because right now the item actually costs around $500. That includes tax and shipping and stuff, because you got to pay for shipping, and I think shipping, when I looked at it on Amazon, I think shipping was like $190. So the bike itself sells for around $300, so in total it'd be $500 and something. I think I calculated $560 it would totally cost me, and I thought, oh, this would be a cool little motorbike to put to the test, and because they claim 300 pound, that it could support a maximum weight capacity of 300 pounds, and me being a big guy, I would love to put that to the test. And that's why I like being in walking distance of this nature trail, because on this nature trail, I can legally ride certain electric bicycles and scooters and stuff on this nature trail with no problems, and be able to test them out and see the range capability. Because when I look at electric bicycles, scooters and stuff, I'm not too much worried about like how fast does it go. I'm not worried about speed. I'm more into the range. Like, I'm more about the range of the e-bike. How long can I ride it until I have to recharge it again and stuff. And so that's what I'm more into, is the range, because I wouldn't mind having at least one e-bike that had a decent kind of range, where I could simply from my house go to the next towns over and be able to ride around a little bit in the next town, and then have enough juice to come back to my home and stuff, And so I would say, for me, for what I would do, I'd probably have to have something that has a little more than like 60, maybe something more closer to like the 50-mile range or 60 miles range. Now, the little Caroma electric little motorbike, I thought that caught my eye, because I thought that would be neat to have, since it looks like a vintage style gas mini bike and stuff, and since it was on the cheaper side and something that would be that's kind of in my budget, I thought, that would be a neat one to do a video about, because some of them that I look at are over $1,000, and I just right now at the moment don't have that kind of money. So and this one, I thought, oh, it looks kind of cool, where if I get some extra pocket change sometime, I'm gonna buy it and do a video about it and stuff, because I think it would be neat. The range capacity being 30, I imagine on this trail here and stuff, probably what would happen is I'd probably get a little bit less out of the range capability, where I'd probably, if I'm lucky, I'd probably maybe make it all the way back, all the way to the next town, and then I would have to obviously turn around and then go back home. Or if I say I wanted to explore the town, that little motorbike would not allow me to be able to ride around the town and explore, where what I would have to do is, if I had that, I would have to find a safe spot to simply lock it up, padlock it up, and do everything I can to protect it from getting stolen. Find a safe place to park it, lock it up, and then I would just have to on foot walk around the town, do whatever I needed to do, and then go back to the thing, and then just ride back to town and stuff. That's what I would have to do with something like that, is park it, go to the either Ionia or Lowell, go to where and park it somewhere safe where I know it wouldn't get stolen. Park it, walk around the town, do whatever, eat at a restaurant, or do whatever I had to do, and then, or explore shopping. Because what I would do with an electric e-bike, bicycle, is I'm just going to use it for those days where I just want to go for a little ride somewhere and kind of walk around, maybe check out a few little shops and see what kind of interesting things they got and stuff. And you know, just one of those days where I really don't care to hop in a car and put all kinds of wear and tear and stuff. So this little motorbike, if I had it, I think I could do that, where I just have to find a safe spot to park it and chain it up and stuff, because there's a store and stuff that I go to quite a bit, and they know me, where I think they have a actual bicycle rack for people to park their bikes and stuff, where I could say, hey, can I park this here and chain it up and walk around town? And they'd say, yeah, sure, you can go ahead and do it and stuff. Or I think also somewhere in that town they also have, because I know in the downtown area they have for cars city parking, and I think they have some bike racks where I could chain it up, lock it up and stuff, and then explore the town and stuff, and then I'd have to come back to it and then just drive it back home. I wouldn't have the range on that. I most definitely probably would not have enough to be able to do a little cruising around town and then try to come back to Saranac. Or what would most likely happen if I did do that, I would end up traveling back to Saranac and get probably a long ways down this nature trail, and then I'd have to simply, the thing with the battery would die, and then I'd be pushing the little bike back to Saranac and stuff. Because this Caroma little mini bike scooter, this one doesn't have pedals on it, so then I'd be screwed on that. But I still think this little bike it's just a cool little thing, because it's one of those kind that I look at would be one that people would see on and say, hey, that's kind of cool, what brand is that? And you get talkers, because it's one of those that the design of it stands out, versus where a lot of these just look like a standard bicycle with pedals on it, which that's what they're supposed to be and stuff. And this one, the design of the bike is completely different looking and stuff, and so and it's one of the ones more in my price range that I would like to review and stuff, because I'd like to put some of those electric bicycles and stuff to the test. But here's the lovely nature. This is what you're gonna see when you're out here on this nature trail, is trees and wildlife, bugs, and like earlier, a butterfly was flying into the camera there. I don't know if anybody caught that. But that's what you're gonna see on here, and then eventually you run into the state land and stuff, and they'll have warnings now entering state land and about firearms and stuff, and you'll also see on this trail little signage and stuff. See, state land, recreational area, so it warns you. And also ticks are common. But yep. So if you're out here and you're new to this area of Nature Trail and you see sign right here, that sign right here, that's where I go by, and that's when I know, hey, I'm in the state of Michigan territory, state land. So I know if I, because you can hike in the state land, it's public state land. I know I can safely. Once I always go by that tells me, yep, I'm in state land territory. So if I, for some reason, needed to walk this way, the main road, this way will lead you to the Grand River. That if you keep walking that way, you'll end up in the Grand River, and if you need help, if you're more closer that way, you can always, sometimes you might get lucky, depending on the time of day, find a boater that can help you and stuff. But your best bet, if you got lost or something, emergency, I would, and you had no communication, I'd be walking that way, getting on the main road and flagging somebody down in that event. But yeah, once I see that sign, I know, hey, I'm in the state land territory, and I can, if I wanted to, walk around the state land and stuff and then explore, which I don't do because, it's sometimes during the hunting seasons it can be a little hectic and crazy, because you got people that try to be the boss and say, hey, what are you doing, and this is my spot, and stuff, and so yeah. Well, yeah, on state land, I don't much explore the state land, because it's only for, if you're only allowed to do day hiking on there. There's no overnight camping allowed on there and stuff. You leave it like you found it. And me personally, when it comes to hiking and stuff, I like to go places where I know, when I have the time to do so and the money, I like going to places where I know I can not only hike, but I can also do camping as well, where if I want to, I can set up a campsite, and if I have to on the ground, build a little campfire, whatever. That's the kind of land that I like to go on and explore. So that's why I don't care to go out on the state land and stuff, because all the rules and regulations and stuff they have, and it's, to me, I personally just don't care. The only thing I like to do is to simply walk on this nature trail and stuff. But yeah, I'm just out here walking and enjoying it. But like I said before about e-bikes and stuff, this would be perfect for testing out the range, at least the range capability. It's mostly flat here, and there's not too many like steep hills and major terrain and stuff. So for testing it, e-bikes going uphill, I would have to. I have some road on my street. Up me has a pretty steep hill where I would have to test for how well certain e-bikes go uphill and stuff. But for like just doing range test capabilities, like seeing how long the range is on something, this trail would be perfect for that, for testing how long you can ride it until the e-bike battery dies and needs to recharge and stuff. So, and like I said about that Kuroma, basically little e-bike that I've been looking at, that's one of those where once I got to the town, I would have to find a safe place to park it, and then I could walk around the town, but I wouldn't be able to, ride around town looking at all the little shops, because I wouldn't have enough battery juice. Where, again, I would have to park it somewhere, walk around, do whatever. Then when I was ready to head back home, then I'd have to hop on it and then drive it back home and stuff. And from what I read of the reviews of this little $500 little bike, is people say it's pretty good, and so I would trust from what I've seen of the reviews and videos online, because it's one of those pretty popular, because it looks like a little mini bike and the design's kind of popular. There's a lot of videos about it out there on YouTube and stuff, and so I looked at that, and so a lot of it, so I pretty much would trust the range capability on that. And of course, like anything out there, no matter what battery operated product you buy, over time things get old, and after a while you start seeing the battery starts getting weaker and weaker, where it doesn't hold a charge as long. And I imagine this is one, in that little bike I was looking that I'm talking about, I imagine that's one of those where, maybe after about 3-5 years of owning it, after a while the battery would eventually be one of those situations where after a while of owning it and And depending on how much you use it, over time, after about maybe I'd say 4 to 5 years, the battery would probably start to get weak in it, where you would either have to find a way to buy a replacement battery for it, or throw it out and get a whole new one and stuff. I noticed if you want a pretty decent quality electric bicycle, a lot of the good quality ones are going to cost around $3,000 to $4,000, and simply basically $1,000 on up to get a somewhat decent quality bike for the price of something decent that's gonna last a long time and stuff. I do like the idea of electric bicycle for if you're somebody that struggles with pedaling a traditional bike and you need a little help. I think that's great for that. I think electric bicycles are useful and stuff, and think that's a great idea. I'm glad somebody came out with it and stuff. And you got all these people, oh, you gotta be careful, they catch fire and stuff, all these electric bicycles. Well, yeah, you wanna know why they catch fire? It's because it's usually the person who owns it that's the problem. Is some people don't realize that not all electric bicycles have smart charging technology. Me, like that little Chroma bike, if I bought that and I found out it didn't have smart charging technology where when it's done charging it automatically shuts down, that would not surprise me. And so I always tell people, I'll tell people all the time, whether it's in video, in person, if you have an electric bicycle or any electric device, cell phone, whatever, check it from time to time. That's what you do with anything. When I was a kid growing up, my father would sometimes have to charge his car battery, so he would charge up his riding lawnmower battery, and he had a little trickle charger. He always called it a trickle charger for his lawnmower battery. He would plug it in, look at his watch or look at a clock, and figure out after about maybe 5-10 minutes, he'd walk right back out to the lawnmower and check it and make sure there's nothing funky was going on and stuff. And if I have any electric ride-on toy or whatever it's electric golf cart, and even if it did have smart charging technology on it, I'm still going to do my part and look it over, make sure everything's okay, and make sure nothing freaky is happening and stuff. And that's what you do with anything. So that's why I think a lot of these electric bicycles and electric ride-on toys are catching fire a lot, is people are not paying attention to them when you need to and stuff, Just don't set it and forget it, Don't go plug in and then just go walk off and spend hours on the computer and not pay attention to it, To me, you plug it in, you let it charge up, and after about maybe, 10, 20 minutes, go to where you got it plugged in, look it over, check it, make sure everything's okay, and, don't be plugging that stuff in and then going to bed at night thinking, oh, I'll be fine the next morning. No. And then when it is fully charged up, soon as it's fully charged up, walk over, unplug it, and if you're not going to use it, make sure everything's off and stuff, And then when you're ready to use it, then turn on and go have fun. That's the thing is, I think a lot of these e-bikes catching fire are sometimes, I feel, are a little bit more user error. And then plus, there are some super, super cheap electric bicycles out there on Temu, Wish, Amazon, Walmart that are crappily made, that have, batteries that do malfunction and stuff. Because what I learned just doing a lot of research on electric motor vehicles is not everything out there has smart charging technology where it will tell a person where it will automatically shut off the charging system. some of them, even after the battery is fully charged, they still keep charging and causing the battery to overload and get hot, and then of course catch fire. So you want to always make sure to check it, and then when you know it's fully charged, safely unplug it, and so that way you don't have any issues and stuff, and that's what I would do. Now I'm actually heading back to my the town I live in. Yeah, there's a barn. I'm heading back to Saranac. I obviously not gonna walk all the way into the town of Ionia because there's not enough time in the day, and then by the time I did all that, I'd be all out of breath and would be trying to find a free water station to wet my whistle, because I forgot to bring along with me a bottle of water or something. So always keep that in mind when you're out camping, when you're out hiking and stuff, to make sure to have a bottle of water with you or something. But yeah, but I'm not walking that far, so that's why I didn't even bother. I just go for a walk, and when I get back to my house, I'll have all kinds of pop and water and stuff to drink. But yeah, but that's why I think a lot of e-bike fires are common, is because I say it's more kind of the user error and stuff, and you know, because see, the thing is with smart charging technology, that costs a company money. So if you're looking for a budget e-bike, a lot of companies that make those electric bicycles that are on the cheaper end, they're not going to add that, because then it would cost them more money, which then they're going to pass the cost on to you. So sometimes they're not going to add that, and that smart charger, so they're not going to add the smart charging capabilities. So therefore, always make sure you read the owner's manual about how to simply charge up the device. And some of them will say, hey, does not have smart charging technology and stuff and things, and so always keep that in mind and everything. But yeah, they'll usually say in the owner's manual if there's anything about smart charging capabilities and stuff, and so always make sure. And if you're not 100% sure, then just simply watch it, keep an eye on it, and you should be all right and stuff, and charging that. But yeah, that's why I'm glad I live in where I live, because I'm just in walking distance of this nature trail, where I could later on down the line, when I have money to afford to do that on my YouTube channel, I could test out different electric bicycles and little electric ride-on toys that are legally allowed on this nature trail and stuff. So yeah, I know Tesla, they make a electric quad runner, where I would not be able to test that out on this nature trail for obvious reasons. Some electric ride-on toys are considered actual off-road vehicles, and so therefore some stuff I would not be able to legally ride on this nature trail. So therefore I would make sure whatever I bought, I would first make sure the law legally allows me to do so. That's why I'm gonna more focus on stuff like when it comes to ride-on toys and stuff. I'm gonna focus on more of the stuff that people can actually use as transportation and stuff. Like, for example, those enclosed mobility scooters that I've talked about in the past. I know I can legally ride them on this nature trail and test them out and stuff, because they're classified as a mobility scooter, and certain pedal bikes and certain e-bikes, I know I can legally on this nature trail ride and stuff, because I looked into the laws, and the law says, I looked at the Michigan law, and it told me what class on the internet. I went to the government website and I looked up what classes of e-bikes and stuff are allowed and things and stuff. And if I remember right, I think if I remember right, I'll have to re-look this up again. But I think what they call Class 3 e-bikes that are under a certain speed limit and have pedals, I can also legally ride on this stuff. Because not everything out there for sale that says that a company claims to be an electric bicycle is, in the eyes of the law, electric bicycle, scooter, whatever. There's some stuff out there that is an electric ride-on toy that is more considered an electric motorcycle and would fall under the class of an actual motorcycle, where one would have to have a motorcycle endorsement on their license and then have it registered as a motorcycle or have it registered as a moped. Like for me in my area, if I wanted to, I bought let's say, electric scooter, and the electric scooter under Michigan law was classified as a moped, then what would happen is I would have to get a moped sticker. I wouldn't be able to ride it on this nature trail, that would be against the law, and then I would have to use the main road over there to ride it and put to the test and stuff. And so, because I have seen actual electric mopeds and electric and gas power mopeds as well that I thought would be neat to test out and see how well they are and stuff right out of the box and give an opinion on. I know you gotta be careful with some gasoline powered mopeds and stuff coming from China, because some of them are superly cheaply built, poor quality, where yeah, they might work when you first get them out of the box, but after a couple of weeks or a month down the line, they would eventually break, and then you just gotta junk parts bike, and you gotta be careful, because certain brands you can't get parts for, and there's a lot, if you don't know how to work on stuff, there's also a lot of mechanic shops that will not work on Chinese made products and stuff, so you want to be careful of that when buying any gasoline powered product coming out of China and stuff. But yeah. But as far as like reviewing ride-on toys, since I'm all about wanting to help people and stuff, I would more focus on the stuff that doesn't require a license to ride, and you can legally ride it on this nature trail, and you don't need any registration or any sort of licensing and stuff. I would focus on that stuff more than versus something that requires a driver's license and registering, getting either a sticker or a license plate for it, because that's, adding money, that costs money, so therefore that would be more expensive for somebody than versus a bicycle with an electric motor on it and stuff. So I'd have to keep that in mind. So that's why I would more focus on simply electric, like bicycles and stuff that don't require no licensing, so people could see which is good and which is bad as far as quality goes, and help them make better decisions, because not everybody can afford to buy a car and get a license and stuff. Some people have medical reasons why they can't drive a car, or some people just simply can't afford it. So to me, I think it would be nice to put to the test some of these ride-on toys that you can legally ride on a nature trail ride where bicycles and stuff are allowed to help people be able to make right choices and stuff, because not everybody has the money to go out and buy something and find out the hard way if it was good or bad and stuff. And I want to help in that way. I figure that would also help people, and then it also raises awareness about what's out there too, and stuff. So that's why I want to do some of those kind of like reviews and stuff, and maybe hopefully next year or something I can possibly make that happen and stuff. But yeah, that's why I'm kind of into wanting to do e-bike reviews and stuff, because I feel that would be a great way to also help people. And then too, when I had the money and I could, for people in need and stuff, I could later on, I would know what is good and what is bad out there, and could buy up the good and give away to people and stuff. I could be like, oh yeah, I did a review of an e-bike. I'll go back and see that, and I'll say, oh yeah, there was one that I did that was super good and had good range capability and speeds and stuff, and I'll go find that video, and then I can go back to my YouTube channel, find that video, watch it, and figure out the brand and see if it's still for sale at the time, and buy a bunch of them and give them away to people in need and stuff. Because not everyone's got $3,000 to $5,000 to slap down on a bicycle or something, and stuff. And because that's one thing I want to do, is help people out, because I've been around people who were out of work and didn't have jobs and struggled and stuff, so I know what it's like. I've been there. Even myself, I've been in that situation where it's like, oh crap, what am I gonna do, So, like the situation I'm in right now, if it wasn't for my brother, I would be screwed, blued, and tattooed, and I'd be the guy making YouTube videos about living on the streets and trying to put up where it's begging for change and stuff, and so that's I'm one of those people living paycheck to paycheck and stuff, and so I know how it is and stuff. So, and I figured, I would also too buy regular traditional non-motorized bicycles for those people that just, they're in a situation like, hey, I just want a basic pedal bicycle. I don't care about electric motors or none of that stuff. I'd even buy a bunch of those and make sure to give out to people in need when I had the money to do so and stuff. Because everybody's situation is different, and everybody's different. Not everyone wants certain things, and simply everyone's different. So yeah, because some people like a traditional bicycle for exercising, and they don't care to have all that electricness, because they're like, oh, I don't want to mess with having to charge up a battery or anything and stuff, and so yeah, I would even do regular pedal bikes and stuff. Me personally, when it comes to regular traditional bicycles, I've always been a fan of single speed bicycles, and like they call them beach cruiser design bicycles. Those are what I always liked when it came to bicycle designs and stuff. Is those beach cruiser single speed bicycles and stuff. Those are what I always liked and stuff when it came to bicycles. I was never much of a fan of mountain bikes and speed bikes and stuff. The only speed bikes that I really kind of liked were the old vintage 3-speed bicycles, and that was about it. But as far as actual gear mountain bikes. I was never really into much mountain bikes. Yeah, I've ridden them before and stuff, but I just never cared for mountain bikes. Because the problem with gear bikes is, over time, the gears get wore out, and the little plastic shifters will either break, the gear shift will break, or the cables will snap, and I never liked that, you know, because growing up as a kid, I never had the luxury of too much getting a brand new bicycle, so I would always be stuck with losing my voice. I would always get stuck with trying to ride I'd always never had the opportunity of, when I was growing up, getting a new bike. I'd always get used bikes, and by then the mountain bikes, the gears would be all messed up, or the shifter, the cables would be broken, and I just never liked having to mess with the hassle of trying to fix the gears and stuff on a mountain bike. That's why I always like more single speed bicycles, because it was more easier to for me anyways. It was just more easier to mess with and stuff, and especially when you had a flat tire and you had to replace a tube in a tire. It was, to me, I always thought it was a lot more easier and stuff. So yeah. Well, I guess I'm losing my voice here from talking for so much, so I'll end this video and stuff, because I know it's going to be super long and stuff. Thank you for watching from start to finish and finishing stuff. I hope you had some enjoyment out of this video, and thank you for watching and stuff. Yeah. Once I get more money in my budget, I will be doing a lot more different videos on this channel. I have all kinds of super ideas for videos on this YouTube channel, but right now I don't have the funding to pull them off and stuff. Like for example, like I've been talking about in this video for a good 10-20 minutes about e-bikes and stuff. But doing e-bike reviews and stuff, and hopefully when I can be able to do that. But yeah, if you like this sort of content, give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you didn't like it. Comment your thoughts below. We think this was a good video, bad video. Don't forget to share this video with everyone you know, and please hit that subscribe button, because that's going to help me out in showing Google that people actually want to watch Boomhauer69 YouTube channel, and by you sharing this video, you'll help me gain more views and subscribers. So, hope you all have a good day, and thank you for watching Boomhauer69 YouTube channel.